It is not the 25th anniversary of WrestleMania, it is the 25th WrestleMania. The day your parents get married is not also their first anniversary. Fuck this whole fucking pay-per-view. How fucking dare you? Anyway, so the 24th anniversary of WrestleMania is home to one of the best matches in the history of wrestling, and the rest of the show is alright. It is alright. The lead up to the event was very silly indeed. It was almost like WWE were trying to return to the giddy nonsense of the Attitude Era. Triple H broke into Randall's house, Cena blackmailed Vicky Guerrero because of sexy times, Matt Hardy burned down his brother's house and killed his dog. All the fun of the fair. I'm Adam from WhatCulture.com, and here are 10 fascinating facts about WrestleMania 25. Number 10, Tazz offered to commentate for free. For the first time since WrestleMania 18, 7 years earlier, there was only one announced team for the duration of the entire show. Though there were still 3 brands with their own distinct broadcast duos, the trio of Jim Ross, Michael Cole, and Jerry Lawler were like, "We got this, dogs. We got this. Dogs. We got this. We got this, dogs." Absent from that sexy threesome was Tazz. On Tuesday, March 31st, 2009, Tazz's WWE contract expired and he chose to leave the company. Despite giving his notice several weeks prior, he offered to work WrestleMania in Houston for free so as not to leave his SmackDown partner Jim Ross high and dry. WWE instead went with the 3-man booth, and Tazz resurfaced in TNA later on that year. Number 9, the tag team title match was bumped for Kid Rock's performance. A unification match for Raw and SmackDown's tag team titles was hyped for WrestleMania 25, pitting John Morrison and The Miz against Carlito and Primo Colon before he got a rager for Puerto Rico. However, if you bought the pay-per-view at home, no such match took place, except it did on the untelevised pre-show with Carlito and Primo winning to unify the belts. According to Morrison, the guys found out about a week or two before the show that Kid Rock wanted loads of time for his mini-concert, and WWE officials made the decision to move the tag team title match to before the pay-per-view. That is too much Kid Rock. I mean, this picture of Kid Rock is too much Kid Rock, but you get my point. Number 8, Mickey Rourke jumped the gun on challenging Chris Jericho. Actor turned boxer turned actor turned wrestler turned actor, Mickey Rourke received universal acclaim for his role of Randy the Ram Robinson in The Wrestler, with the performance being so effective it famously brought Roddy Piper to tears. Weeks after winning Best Actor at the Golden Globes, Rourke appeared on the red carpet at the Screen Actors Guild Awards the same night as the 2009 Royal Rumble and issued a challenge to Chris Jericho for WrestleMania. This was news to Y2J, who had no idea why the actor was calling him out. McMahon had to explain to Jericho that WWE and Rourke had come to terms, but that the renowned actor wasn't supposed to have spoken about it until after the Academy Awards in February. Number 7, Rourke thought Jericho would double-cross him. Ultimately, Rourke backed out of the scheduled clash, with Jericho deferring to his manager's belief that a wrestling match might damage his grand return to A-lister status. Then, Rourke and Jericho were scheduled for a split-screen interview on Larry King Live, and Jericho decided he would try and goad Rourke into reconsidering. The award-winning actor misinterpreted Jericho's kayfabe barbs as authentic disrespect, fighting words they say, and decided to bring backup with him for his guest WrestleMania duffing of Y2J. As Jericho approached the ring to rehearse the day before, he noticed Rourke had with him MMA legends Frank Shamrock and Josh Barnett, as well as an Israeli bounty hunter in fatigues. Rourke thought that Jericho planned to shoot on him, so brought an entourage of pain. Number 6, Jimmy Snuka became the oldest man to wrestle a match at WrestleMania. At Mania 2, the Fabulous Moolah retained the WWF Women's Championship over Velvet McIntyre in a throwaway match, notable only for the fact that Moolah was 62 years old at the time, establishing a WrestleMania record for oldest performer that stood for 23 years. Breaking the record was Jimmy Superfly Snuka, whose participation in a 3-on-1 Legends handicap match with Jericho came about 6 weeks before his 66th birthday. Snuka didn't really do much in the match apart from give the least enthusiastic tap-out possible to Jericho's walls, but his age does warrant a mention. Number 5, Jeff Hardy fell to 0-5 at WrestleMania. In the previous list for WrestleMania 24, which I assume you've watched, Send Me Presents, you learned that Jeff Hardy was due to win the Money in the Bank ladder match that year before flunking a wellness test. That would have been his first win at WrestleMania, having never got the W at the show of shows. In the end, he would have to wait 1 full year until WrestleMania 25 to also never win at WrestleMania. What is wrong with you, brother Nero? The loss of the future Broken Matt in a rather brutal encounter, albeit bereft of boat, sunk Jeff to 0-5 at the event, which is the worst winless record in the history of WrestleMania. Even Big Show, who went 0-6, eventually picked up a win at WrestleMania 22. Number 4, it marked the first Intercontinental title match at WrestleMania in 7 years. When Rob Van Dam splashed William Regal to capture the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania 18, neither he nor anybody else could have guessed that it would take 7 more years for the next IC title bout at Mania. That's a gap that's literally longer than Jack has been alive. JBL's defense against a Heath Ledger-inspired Rey Mysterio in what was JBL's retirement match resurrected the belt in WrestleMania canon for 21 whole seconds. So what happened to the belt in that time? Well, it was scrapped between 2002 to 2003. Champion Randy Orton took part in a handicap match at WrestleMania 20. Title holder Shelton Benjamin participated in Money in the Bank matches at Mania 21 and 22. Umaga held the belt when he faced Bobby Lashley in the Battle of the Billionaires at 23, while Chris Jericho was champion when he worked the Money in the Bank match at 24. Number 3, Sim Snuka was the cameraman that failed to catch Undertaker. WrestleMania 25 was a family affair for the Snukas, but a more mortifying one for Jimmy's son Sim. The wrestler, who had once worked as Deuce from Deuce and Domino, Jericho, remember them, was disguised as a WWE cameraman at ringside who was strategically placed to help break Undertaker's fall during a suicide dive attempt. Once Shawn Michaels pulled Snuka towards the intended spot, Snuka had to drop the camera and quickly get his arms up to halt the momentum of Dr. Foggy Longhair. Snuka was far enough out of target range that the dead man javelined headfirst into the floor, nearly breaking his neck. The bad landing gave Eerie Eric a concussion, which reportedly rendered him unable to remember how the match ended. As for Snuka, he was unsurprisingly released in June that year. Number 2, Shawn Michaels stated that WrestleMania 26 was likely his last. As Michaels demonstrated in his 5-star opus with The Undertaker, he was still the showstopper at age 43, and every bit the masterful artist he had been in his 20s. Michaels, however, admitted in an interview with Chicago radio station Q101 that he was eyeing retirement a year later when WrestleMania rolled into the state where he was born. Michaels noted in the interview that his contract expired around the time of WrestleMania 26 and that he wanted to spend more time with his children as they grew up. And then he kind of hoped that everyone forgot he said that, as it was a pretty huge spoiler for the career versus streak match that was booked a year later. And number 1, Randall Orton blamed the stipulation for his and Triple H's match. Perhaps WrestleMania 25 would have been held in a higher esteem overall had the main event delivered. Triple H retained the WWE Championship over Randall Keith Orton in a match spanning nearly 25 minutes. For the most part, the crowd watched the match sat on their hands, and that's because the stipulation for the match said that Triple H would lose the belt if he were to be disqualified, despite the fact that for the previous 2 months, Orton had been assaulting Helmsley's in-laws, and the champ even broke into Orton's house in a murderous rage. Surely this would be the kind of match to call for overbooked weaponry-based mayhem. Instead, the stip castrated the match, a fact not lost on Randall, who candidly criticised the stipulation in an interview with The Sun a few months later. And that's our list. Did we miss any out? Tell us about it in the comments. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter here, and you can follow the man who wrote these articles here. I'm Adam from WhatCulture.com, and I'll see you soon.